Welcome back to Hockey Eastern Ontario's Rule of the Week, where each week we take a rule from the Hockey Canada rulebook and break it down to help our players, our coaches, and of course our officials learn a little bit about the rule and better understand how it's applied in a game situation. This week, we're going to be talking about kneeing. Stay tuned. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about kneeing, but before we get started, just a reminder to hit like and subscribe to this channel. That will ensure that you get updated content every week, including this Rule of the Week series. So now let's take a look at the rule for kneeing. So kneeing is listed as Rule 7.8 in the Hockey Canada rulebook. Kneeing is the act of a player making contact with an opponent, where the knee is the principal point of contact. This may take the form of a player making contact with the opponent's knee on an otherwise legal hit, leading into a hit with their knee, or deliberately extending their leg outwards to make contact with an opponent. What are the penalty options for a kneeing infraction? Well, last year, Hockey Canada removed the minor penalty for kneeing. It's now at a minimum a double minor penalty. And this occurs when any player makes contact with an opponent where the knee is the principal point of contact, regardless of whether the player deliberately extends their knee or not. When a player is injured on the play, or the infraction is listed with a high degree of violence, then a major and a game misconduct penalty must be assessed. And finally, a match penalty is assessed to any player who attempts to injure an opponent by kneeing. So in the case of a match penalty, 5 minutes will be put on the clock, the player receiving the penalty would be ejected from the game, and another player on the ice at the time of the infraction for that team would serve the 5-minute penalty. Please note that if the contact was foot to foot, this should be penalized as tripping and not kneeing. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of how this would look on the ice. In this example, the blue player extends their leg, making the knee the first point of contact. There's a minimal degree of violence, and as a result, a double minor penalty for kneeing must be assessed. Watch carefully. So you can see here, the player comes up, blue extends their knee, connects with the knee of the other player. Player goes down. As a result, we would call a double minor penalty for kneeing in this situation. In this next example, the player in black deliberately extends their knee, which is the first point of contact. There's a high degree of violence, and therefore a major penalty plus a game misconduct for kneeing must be assessed. Again, watch closely. So you can see here the player is coming up. The player deliberately extends out their knee, and you can see them flip in the air. That's usually a good indication of the degree of violence. So in this case, we would call a major and a game misconduct at least for this penalty. If we thought that there was a deliberate attempt to injure on this play, a match penalty could also be assessed. Okay, so now it's your turn. I'm going to show you this video. I'd like you to take a look at it and think about what penalties should be assessed here. Watch carefully. Okay, so what did you have? If you had a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for kneeing, or potentially a match penalty, you'd be right. Green comes at the player with a high degree of speed. The knee is the first point of contact. There's a high degree of violence, which means that at a minimum, we would need to call a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for kneeing. If injury results, it's an automatic 5-minute game. If we believe the player intentionally tried to hurt the other player, then it's going to be a match penalty. So there you have it. Those are the penalties that can be called for kneeing. It can be either a double minor penalty, a 5-minute and a major and a game misconduct penalty, or a match penalty. We encourage our officials to call this penalty. It's a very serious infraction on the ice that can lead to serious injury. If you have any questions about this video or any of the videos in our series, you can reach out to myself. My email address was listed at the beginning of this video. You could reach out to the referee-in-chief of Hockey Eastern Ontario, John Reed. His information is below. You could also reach out to your district chair or your local referee-in-chief. Before we go, just a reminder to like this video and subscribe to this channel. That way you can get all of the videos in the Rule of the Week series, as well as any other videos that we produce here at the Hockey Eastern Ontario Officiating Program. Until next week, have a safe and wonderful week, and we'll see you back here soon. Stay safe.